to my channel. My name is Alex R. ASMR, and today I wanted to dedicate this video and welcome specifically all of my alternative people, because I know you're out there, and I know that despite the world trying to push dolphins down our throats as the popular choice, then it's really shrimps and squids and all kinds of other things that are of primary interest, not dolphins. And I think of Princess Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Even she most often consorted with a crab. Okay, a crab. So, popular dolphin girls. Okay, move along. This video is for my shrimp girls, my angler people. You know what I'm saying? If you like eels. I'm just kidding. If you don't like dolphins, you're welcome to stay. Because actually the point of this video is going to be thinking about dolphins and humanity a little bit differently. But I wanted to hate on dolphins just for a second and talk about this because I think there's been some injustice going on. And it's something that I noticed even as a child, where we, Homo sapiens, seemingly choose who the popular girls are in the animal kingdom. In every corner of the animal kingdom. You know what I mean? I feel like we do. In that the popular girls of the ocean are very clear and very obvious, you know? Like, we've got the dolphins. They're kind of like the cheerleaders of the ocean, you know? They're bubbly and happy. At least this is the myth that we have about them. And we've got sharks, okay? They're kind of like jock bullies of the ocean, but we love seeing what they're up to. We've got the, swordfish, kind of the fish of sailing. A swordfish would be wearing Polo Ralph Lauren, if allowed. I think I'm right on this. And of course we have whales. Who could hate on a whale? Whales are just doing their thing. They're just out there doing their thing. This is like the Breakfast Club of the ocean. This is kind of the main cast. These are the popular girls. These are the bedroom poster-worthy sea creatures. You know what I mean? They're gonna be the ones you decorate with, and that kind of thing. Like, oh, I would love a starfish bathroom. Yes. I would very much like a seahorse nightlight. Yes. How about a turtle necklace? A sea turtle necklace? Definitely. I'm a lesbian. I'll be buying that. Of course I'll be buying that and wearing that. So these are like the glamorous girls of the gift shop. You know, you go to a seaside town and those are the stores. You're gonna find them on the beach towels and the t-shirts, right? But then there are this other group, oh boy, B group. These are the ones who are not making it onto gift shop merchandise, like the sunfish. Oh, the sunfish. That's just the punching bag of the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that the sunfish is ever going to be a little girl's choice for the cover of her spiral notebook for going back to school? I don't know. I think the dolphin's gonna outsell that one. What about the blobfish? Or the eel? Is that a seahorse? Oh no, it's a shrimp. Oh, okay, never mind. What person would want a necklace of a giant tube worm? Nobody. Find me somebody. So you've got this whole overlooked group. It also includes fish, because we're not talking about the coral reef fish. You know, all that fun stuff, very colorful. We're talking about fish. Gray, silver fish. Who knows? They're just swimming and sitting in there. The plain old fish, you know what I mean? So you've got this category of the kind of whatevers. And then in our popular culture, you go even further down in the ocean, like way down, and it gets weirder and colder and more strange, and it even gets kind of monstrous, like heinous. This world is truly villainous in how creepy and crawly it is, and we use language like that, like grotesque, gruesome, and it's wild to see how we do this as people, as a species. I feel like fish is just the tip of the iceberg. As I said earlier, we have a category of animal that we label as the monster. And I feel like we've always done this. If you crack open a history book, any time, any year, any place, and you will see that group that's getting absolutely othered. They're the monster. And it's kind of like, who is coming to eat away at polite society at any given point? Is it witches, women? Is it gay people? Is it foreigners? Is it Elvis? The Beatles? Like, who is coming to destroy our sense of order and peace, you know? And my idea about dolphins really gets overcooked here, and I'm just shoving it up because I'm saying that we have a real tendency as people to not be able to travel depth or distance. We do and we don't, but it's easy to not. So, sticking with the ocean here, if you are gonna scuba dive and you're gonna go some great distance down into the ocean, or you can think like, if you're gonna go up, you're gonna go some great distance up, and you're gonna go to space, and you're gonna see other planets and the solar system. You need some tools. You need some tools, and they're different than the tools you need to like go to the grocery store in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like a really comprehensive life or death set of tools. Like you need a spacesuit, or you need a scuba suit, and you need an oxygen tank. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have a lack of fear, and you need to have a radical sense of trust and the ability to maintain your calmness. And all of that's happening as you suspend your identity. You suspend everything that you've ever known, your physics. You kind of suspend gravity, and you rely on these tools like an oxygen tank to breathe. You kind of become more than yourself. These tools help you become more than yourself and maintain some homeostasis as you travel these depths. You know what I mean? There's a kind of affinity that is required to venture into depth. And I think the same thing is true for social depth, not just geographical, but social. Like, to cross over any large distance between you and another person requires a similar amount of affinity and curiosity and tools of empathy and communication, which I definitely see in abundance around me sometimes. Like, I've seen this a lot in college. I've seen it outside. I've seen it on YouTube via debates and that type of thing. But I see people regularly go the distance and are able to travel far ideologically and be okay, and return home and be okay, and have been changed by that experience, have made a connection, a new idea, and return safely out. But I've also seen people fail miserably to go the distance ideologically via thought. I've seen people just fail at it. And I see, like, on Twitter, on Facebook, huge L, massive L, failing everywhere. So the massively overcooked part of this video and this idea is, like, I swear to God, the downfall of dolphins is thrilling to me, because I genuinely feel like it represents a kind of justice. Like, I don't know how do I explain this? Like, the myth version of the dolphin is that it's, like, happy and chipper and cute and obedient, and it's like this harmless little cute creature. They're like puppies of the ocean, you know. They're beloved by people everywhere, especially children, and little girls are supposed to love dolphins, okay? But they have been revealed, exposed as animals, as kind of gross, and they have been revealed to be incredibly complicated. They're not as cute and harmless as we may have believed. They're actually a little freaky. They're dignified, but they're freaky. And they're cool, but they're really gross, and they do gross things because they're an animal. Like, I know young adults who used to love dolphins as kids who are now radically disturbed by dolphins. You know what I mean? They have fallen from grace, and we have had our awakening with the dolphin. Okay? In this scheme, the dolphin and the viperfish, the anglerfish, the eel, they're not so different. You kind of suspend this cultural narrative, and you look at them, and they're both just making their way in the world, and they're both really cool, and they're both really freaky, because they're animals, you know? So, like, adopting, I guess, a more complicated view of dolphins, and as a culture, is really thrilling, because I feel like it has implications for the kind of thinking we could use more of in the world. Like, villainy isn't so black and white, and life is very complicated. Biological life is very complicated. I like seeing this busting up of our old 2D conceptions of nature. I enjoy that. So I actually just rewatched this video. I've got my computer here. I'm gonna find it. It's not about sea creatures. It's about wolves. But it's amazing. It's called How Wolves Challenged Our Understanding of Consciousness by the Dark Wolf Project. I highly recommend this channel, by the way. Just incredibly thoughtful, incredibly, like, well researched, okay? But talk about depth. In the video, get this. It's genius. He talks about tests to measure a wolf's sense of self-awareness in the pack, or the wolf's ability to recognize other members of the pack, or other wolves, right? Have you ever seen the videos of the mirror test, where you can put a mirror in front of an animal and the animal can freak out like a gorilla. They're very entertaining to watch. But pretty much they did that with wolves and they failed. So the wolves didn't care. You know what I mean? They just didn't care. So we think we see that test and we think, oh, they don't really have self-awareness, right? They don't have that sense of individualism. They don't recognize themselves in the mirror. They also seemingly failed a test in which their faces are marked with paint to visually identify one another. But he explains that when they were given a different test based off their sense of smell, that they succeeded in demonstrating an awareness of themselves and other wolves as individuals. So the failure is not on wolves, it is on us as human beings for giving them a test that they were not equipped for to pass in the first place. We gave them one that was based on a visual system because that's what we use to identify others and ourselves, instead of giving them a test based on scent, which in wolves is a much more powerful sensory input than us by far. And we were doing all this science and it was leading us to make conclusions that were inappropriate and untrue. So this is the consequence of not being able to go the distance appropriately between A and B. In this case, human to wolf. In order to travel the distance properly, you need to suspend your sense of self and be truly empathetic and open to observations about the other and have it change you and have it inform you, and you redesign your framework of understanding around encountering them. You don't force your business, your old framework on them, because it might lead you to wrong conclusions. You have to be open to input and open to change. What's important to realize here is that the wolf's sense of self-awareness has not changed. They've been running around, recognizing each other. They haven't changed. Our science that studies them has changed, and the narrative and conclusions that came from the science have changed, right? So there's this academic, this historian of science who has written extensively about the narratives we tell ourselves based on science. She also happens to enjoy a good secreture. She's written a lot about apes, though. This is Donna Haraway. She really inhabits the spirit of the adventurer, right? Like, doesn't she remind you of Miss Frizzle? Have you seen the Magic School Bus? Like, as far as intellectual archetypes go, I am sick of the dark academia poet vibe. Out, I'm tossing it out. I'm going full scholastic book fair from now on. Anyway, Donna Haraway has written a lot about science. I wrote a little something down because she talks about the narrative components, and she talks about how the union between, I guess, political terms and physiology, like the body. She says that these two things, thinking about politics as natural, that of systems, social systems, as related to our physiology and biology. So she says that thinking about those has been a major source of ancient and modern justifications of domination, especially of domination based on differences seen as natural, given, inescapable, and therefore moral. She believes that nature is an invention, not literal nature like on a cellular level, Like, we didn't invent trees or bees or dolphins, but we did invent the myth of nature and all the myth that goes along with these things based on our science. Like, dolphin equals friendly, cute, seemingly simple-minded, great for girls. Shark equals dangerous, big, cool, brutish, good for boys. These are mythologies that we've made out of these animals. Or a really old story like, oh, we humans, self-aware, animals, not self-aware. Humans have a soul, animals don't have a soul. That black and white story was a scientific story, but it is changing, and we are lucky enough to be able to experience that change in real time and continue that. That is a shift in our science, and I feel like more people, following academics like Don Haraway, or reading casually and looking at the science and understanding that science truly is a tool that can or cannot reflect reality depending on how it is conducted and when and why. And the way that we talk about things is a narrative we create. It's a narrative we create from the science, and that narrative may or may not reflect reality based on how it is done and why. It might have a purpose. So we think that octopi are loners. We think that, they're just out there soloing it all and we got them figured out. But no, we don't. No, we don't. Turns out some of them are social and they have very rich systems of community. They're living in apartments. Have you seen the octopus apartments? They're living in apartments and gossiping, and they are punching their way around the sea. If they don't like someone, to punch them out of there. Okay? We probably know only very little about those things. We really do. And when I see brand new science that comes out and it says, do spiders dream? Evidence shows that spiders might dream. And I'm like, me personally, of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Genuinely, why wouldn't they? And it makes me wonder why. Even in the absence of any scientific conclusion on that, why can't we have the more empathetic assumption? So we assume that they don't until they don't dream. Animals don't dream until it's proven that they do. Why can't we assume the more empathetic one, that they do dream, or they probably definitely dream, right? Like, are we really going to assume that dogs don't understand us and don't have much going on until we read a paper that says that dogs may understand us more than we think? No, really. Like, of course. Like, anyone who's ever had a dog can say, like, of course they do. They have such complex inner lives that we barely understand, right? Like, why are we waiting for science to confirm or deny empathy? Either way, right? Like, why do we need science to confirm that being gay is biological in order to have any empathy towards gay people? In order to throw that any validity that way, you don't need it. And that's the genius of being human and have our own senses to draw conclusions from. So this kind of, quote unquote, confirmational science and narrative involved in explaining why hierarchy and capitalism is natural, or explaining why communism is biological. illogical. It's natural. Should cause anybody to stop and like immediately raise questions. The same goes for kind of any political or economic argument that bases itself in the natural world. I don't know if anything besides complexity and chaos is natural at this point. So if the tools that you need to travel any distance are your competency, your trust, your empathy, then certainly people who make antagonistic, hateful narratives, monster narratives about those who are different are attempting to travel the distance without any of the right tools. They are scuba diving without a suit on. They are displaying an incompetency. And that's how I feel about it. Like they could do with a good schooling on fish, on spiders, dreaming, on wolves. Just a general schooling on how mind-blowingly diverse and complicated life on Earth is. Truly, the world is not just dolphins and viperfish. Dolphins are nasty anyway. So what I'm cooking up here is that I think the second that we collapse the moral spectrum between dolphins and then the monsters, the freaks that live in the deep sea, if we just collapse that dichotomy down, that is the day we are closer to collapsing the moral spectrum between human beings. Like, jocks and nerds. You know what I mean? Like, I actually think we're getting there. I do. I feel like the reign of dolphins is over, and that we are getting better at allowing for complexity. And I hope to God that that's true with people. And like with kids, like, are we? I don't know. Like, do kids, young people, get to be at some level both jockish and like a nerd? Doesn't everybody like Minecraft? I kind of wonder at one point the internet upholds these differences and at what point it helps collapse them, because I hope that access to the internet allows people to embrace maybe other, or people get allowed to express parts of themselves that get repressed in order to try and fit in, you know what I mean? Like, so I hope these categories are breaking down, because I have a feeling that most of us are very normal and also very freaky, because how could it be otherwise? Life is so complex and people are so complex. There's no way these categories are appropriate. Like personality categories are appropriate, genre categories. So we are all the dolphin, and we are all the giant tubeworm. And that's kind of my final thesis for this overcooked idea. Yeah, that was like fully a speed run of what I've been thinking about, based on the way that we talk about some of these poor sea creatures, you know. And is this an injustice to me? It is that to me. I just don't get it. And dolphins can take a freaking hike. Get out of here. They're cute. They are, but it's complexity. It's complexity. And I think life is very complex. Alright. That's literally, I had to come on here and talk about this. I had to. So, who knows what the next video will be about? I'm just rolling with it over here. On a a personal note, I am having a coffee. It's 11 o'clock, 11:11 p.m. 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 11:11 p.m mostly gone. I am addicted to those. What are they? It's Monin syrups. You know those? They use those in coffee shops a lot. And I got myself, Monin. I got myself some big bottles. They're like wine bottle size of syrups. This is a chocolate strawberry cappuccino. It's again mostly gone, but I feel like such a wine mom. But except for wine, I'm like reaching for my syrup de Monin and just topping. Everyone's too over caffeinated. Every day my heart is like racing because I can't put it down. I love these freaking little syrups. I've been making myself these coffees. So today is strawberry chocolate. I hope you're doing well. This is getting a little long as a video. I don't mind that, but I hope you're doing well and that you're able to find some peace and some relaxation wherever you are, whatever you are up to, and that you are doing okay and you're doing well, genuinely. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope to see you again in the next one pretty soon. I can feel one coming soon. So thank you so much, and I hope you're staying warm because winter is on the way, apparently, everywhere. It's pretty gray and cold right now. But, alright. I'm rambling at this point. Thank you so much for watching.